I'm Fatima. I'm from Richmond, BC. I'm your health and beauty social media queen.
Hi guys, I'm Chef Fred. I live in North Vancouver, BC, and I'm a health enthusiast.
Hi everyone, my name is John and I'm in Vancouver and I'm a work from home dad to 2 great kids and married to a wonderful wife.
Hi, my name is Cyrene. I live in Vancouver and my passion is health and beauty.
Hi there, welcome back to our gardening series. Today we are going to be talking about growing vegetables and fruits. Yay! I'm Fatima.
I'm Fred.
John here.
I'm Cyrene.
Excellent. Before we actually get into the conversation, I wanted to ask you guys, why have you decided to actually get into gardening and what does it do for you?
Oh.
The reason why I want to start gardening is because I love the idea of going outside and just picking my beautiful herbs, my cilantro, my tomatoes, my hot peppers, and growing it with love will also inspire my food to be having those too. When people eat my food, they will know that it's made out of lots of love. When I was a little girl, real quick story, I was born on a sugarcane plantation and we had lots of fruits and vegetables growing all over the place. But it's in my DNA. I'm like, can't wait to grow something, you know?
I think it's in all our DNA because I think all of us has grew up on something like that. Like you're sugarcane, like Fred's a chef, like you're what they call it from farm to table, whatever you call that.
Yeah.
I grew up on the prairies. I grew up in Saskatchewan. Fatima? No?
Close. Grow to the market.
I've lived in this house for the last 33 years. But I come from a line of really, really, really good cooks.
Yeah.
So I've always been into like the healthier options and looking into my garden. Like I've always loved getting my hands dirty and just being there. So I guess, yeah, we do have that all in common.
Something that I after one of you just said something that kind of sparked something is that I wanted to have the opportunity that picking something ripe in the garden, because a lot of times you go to the market and you're buying things, they're not ready to eat yet. They still need to ripen, right? And so we have the ability to actually go out and grab a lot of our herbs, a lot of our, like when the tomatoes come, we just basically straight from there rinse them off and it's right into the salad, and they're sweet like sugar, so we don't have to wait, and plus we also get to control what we're putting on it, like the fertilizer and so forth.
Absolutely, John, I agree.
It's like me yesterday. It was raining so hard, and I'm doing dinner, and then I'm like, oh, I need some mint. I need some green onions, and I wanted an onion. And I'm like, so I was just in my shorts. So I ran outside, and Deb ran outside just to watch me because it was raining so hard. She goes, oh my God, you're gonna get soaked. And I'm like, oh my God, it's horrible. Yeah. But then I go home and I have got these beautiful herbs and a beautiful red onion. All I wanted.
Yeah.
I bet it's tastier, Fred, than it would be something
that
you buy from the store, right?
Yeah.
And especially the tomatoes. Like our tomatoes are literally, they're like grapes. Like they're so sweet. Because again, you're picking them right when they're perfect, right? They're not overdue, they're not unripened or green.
Yeah. And
for
me, I grow those gardens, Fatima, because not only the food tastes good, but I'm fascinated by this magic of Mother Nature. That tiny little bean becoming so massive and giving me beans for like weeks is absolutely amazing, and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is definitely a good feeling. And for me, the reason why I actually, have always looked after the garden, whether it was like planting some mint or whatever, but it's more therapeutic. It's a way for me to actually connect to Mother Nature, connect to God, and that's where I actually, find my clarity. I'm able to reconnect, and it's healthy all around. Like like you said, you get like the fresh fruits. We've never really had the place to grow fruits or vegetables. It was more like the herbs and whatever. until this year, where I'm actually I've ripped apart everything, and I'm building in like a garden and whatever, like a vegetable fruit garden. The closest we ever came was like when my aunt, she used to have a cherry tree, so I would climb that when I was younger to pick the cherries, and like they were amazing. Or like my grandmother figure, they had plums, they had like these green plums, they had figs. So every year, like we would get bags and bags of like these fruits. So that was like the closest I got from farm to table, other than like the herbs and everything. But yeah, it definitely tastes so much better, way better. So that's my mission, is just stay healthy through my garden. That's why I'm doing that, and I get the vitamin D. Can't complain
Yeah.
with the vitamin D. It's free.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
Definitely.
it gets us outside too. I mean, gardening is pretty relaxing, I think, for most part. You know, it's therapeutic. So, and you get your exercise, you get your vitamin D, and you're creating something that is it's like a work of love, right? So, you know, it's like you're trying to create something where you and your family can enjoy, and it really, a garden reflects like what you put in is what you're going to get out, right?
Yeah.
So the more you take care of it, the more you tend to it, the more you weed it and even talk to it, whatever you feel like doing, it's going to help. So and it's good. And with my kids, I think it's important to teach our kids where it comes from, right? There's kids that literally go, where do bananas come from? They come from a store. They don't even know what a tree looks like the banana tree. So
Well, it's like pretty much everything, right?
yeah, they don't understand. So my kids right now are working in the garden over the last few months, and it's been helpful because I hope that this will stay with them so that they appreciate where it comes from and how hard it is. And also not just for them, like they understand that it takes farmers a lot of time to buy food, so don't waste food, and be appreciative of the people that actually grow it from all over the world.
My
Well,
parents
you're
and
lucky.
sister have actually a big yard in the back, and they've been growing a lot of herbs. So they've got the cilantro, the tomatoes, the cucumbers, and everything else. And so I basically, when I get there, like I'm always thinking in the back of my head, I have to bring organic foods over. I have to bring organic vegetables over. But now that I know that they have this beautiful yard in the back and everything is fresh, I don't have to worry about it if there's enough nutrients in there or how they grew their vegetables and fruits, because it's organic soil. Everything is fresh. So I'm just so relaxed about it, but I'm cautious about it wherever I go, or, restaurants or people's homes and things like that. But we adjust because.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can. I definitely can taste between organic and non-organic.
That's right.
Yeah.
Definitely. And you're very lucky as well that your kids are liking the garden, because my son doesn't. And when he comes and help me, he finds it's quite hard work. And he says, why do you bother with taking care of this all summer when you can just go to the shop and buy it?
Yeah.
So each to their own, right? I love gardening. I love to reap the benefit from it, but it's not for everybody.
No.
You know what, Fred? He's going to grow into it. One day he's going to wake up and realize that he's still young.
Yeah, he might. He eats the benefit of the garden, though. Do you know what I mean?
Well, as you can tell, it's a loaded question, and we can continue on forever talking about why, the importance of gardening, what it does to our health. But let's get on to it. How do we actually plant our fruits and vegetables?
Pick what you want. Pick what you want to do. Like, pick what you want to have.
So, and if you like apples, plant an apple tree.
Yeah.
Because they will grow. If you like cherries or figs, do the same. However, you have to understand that
The roots.
I'm not kidding. In my area where I live, I know people with cherries. I know people with figs, but nobody gets to eat any because it's being taken. The squirrels, you name it, birds. So understand that you will have to protect it.
Mm-hmm.
How long does a tree take to grow? Like, I was given a piece of apple tree. We buried it like in the front yard.
It's gonna
10 years.
Well, my dad did the same thing. He took a little, I guess, what like a branch of a fig tree, and he planted it in a pot. And that little twig took about 2-3 years before it became like a good sized bush. Then he planted that into the backyard, and now that tree is last year, or sorry, in the summer or in the fall when you have to prune it back off that all the figs are done. It was past the height of the house, 2-story house. So that's why you have to keep trimming it because a cherry tree, as we know, can get up to way past the power lines. We all talk about cherries. I'm sure all of us have climbed up a cherry tree when we were little to pick our own cherries. And, that takes time. That takes years. But a fig tree, I know because my dad has one, I think it was the 3rd year before we were actually able to harvest the fruit.
So it took only 3 years.
I think 3, if I wasn't
That's
mistaken.
pretty good.
But, again, it depends where you put it. Is it gonna survive? Is it in good soil? Does it have the sun? So I guess the conditions that my dad put it in the yard had all that, because every year now we get, every week he pulls off about maybe 30 figs every 3-4 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're sweet.
That's
Like
pretty
they're big like this light bulb.
Oh my.
Nice.
You
So
throw them in salads.
I actually I just learned about a tip when you're transplanting. So if you transplant it and you stick it in, so when you're cutting it, you actually cut it at an angle, at a 45-degree angle. And then you basically stick the stem into honey and put that into the soil so that it actually grows a lot faster, as opposed to just going, from like you cutting it and then putting it into the soil. But the honey acts.
The enzyme in the honey helps.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
So that was a cool trick that I just learned.
Great tip.
It is. It's actually a really cool tip. Like, I mean, like I've been walking around at mosque and we've had our volunteers been working on our garden. So every day I'm like, okay, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? And we have a massive, massive, like we have a massive land. So we have massive garden. And so all of our volunteers are planting, like they're pulling out the weeds, they're planting or transplanting all these different, plants so that we can actually create a barrier around us, like a fence barrier, like a natural barrier, I guess you can call it, as a fence. But so I'm learning a lot from them as well, and that was a tip I got from there. Yeah, so you were talking about, different lighting, and you want sun. You want a lot of sun. So do you go directly into the soil, or are you planting anything there before you put it in, or how does that work?
Well, by example, I have in my yard, it's not in a raised bed, but I have blackberries, blackberries, raspberries, and blueberries. They are in a very sunny spot in my yard. And then, I just tend to them. I make sure I get the birds away from eating all my blueberries and raspberries. But they really do need maintenance because they would take over. Raspberries and blackberries are known to just take over. That's why we plant them by the road, right? To pick up those blackberries.
Yeah.
So it's important to maintain them so they don't take over the whole garden, unless you really like them.
So then for like blackberries, like your wild berries, you would probably need a lot of space allocated for that because they do multiply.
Yeah,
they do multiply unless you manage it.
Yeah, again, it comes back to, give it a little bit of thought of what you want to do, because when you bring home a plant or you put a seed in the ground, you don't realize how big of a job it might take to maintain it, because blackberries and raspberries, the bush is big. Like it gets very big to get a couple cups of blueberries or raspberries, right? So you need a lot of plant to get that much of raspberries. And so be prepared for that, because it can, and they're thorny, they have a lot of spikes on them. So you got to be careful of that. Whatever you want to just be ready to expect how much of a job it can be to maintain, to give you that result.
Yeah.
Whether it's a flower, some plants are gonna. I just planted some hydrangeas, I think
Yeah.
they're called. And someone told me that they're nice because they look like little pom poms, and my wife wanted to put them in, so we put in a few in the front. But everyone that told me said you shouldn't put 6, you should just put 1 because it's gonna get huge. So we'll see. They're little baby ones right now. They're not doing anything this year. But if you guys want one, I'll pull one out maybe next year. You guys can have one to make it stupid. Yeah. Just be aware. Be aware of what you're doing, like what you're choosing. Right. You can't just plant and just leave it because it's gonna overtake your yard.
So you need to put a fence around each and every type of fruit.
Not really.
No.
Separate blueberries from your strawberries to blackberries.
No.
Blueberries don't spread like raspberries and blackberries.
Yeah.
But when you see them come up, I just pull them out.
No,
otherwise it's too much.
This way, like blueberries grow high.
Yeah.
As opposed to like the other two, they grow wide.
The other two grows wide, but the blueberries grows high.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so is it wise to actually remove, if you've bought them like at the store, they've already been like, juvenile, would it be a good idea to take them out of that pot and plant them into the garden itself, or plant it into a larger pot?
No, you can put it right in the garden, but the things you need to look for is when you pull a plant from the pot, normally the roots at the bottom are circling the pot. You want to cut them so they don't because otherwise they'll keep that pattern in your soil and they won't grow properly. So you want to cut those roots or just open them up so they are free to spread, right? And then if you want to be able to move them around, put them in a big pot. But if you have a garden in the back, then your garden.
Yeah, it all depends on, again, what you're growing. If you have like herbs, I like to keep the herbs maybe in a planter, in a nice rectangular planter. So you have your basil, oregano, rosemary, maybe some chives. And so, when you go out like Fred did, run out in the rain, and you're just making some clippings, and then the next one could be mint and, parsley and cilantro. So you have all that. Then your garden would be ones that you actually have, like the ones that grow really large or tall.
Okay, perfect. These are some excellent tips. Any other questions or closing remarks?
If you guys want to grow mint, keep it in a pot. It's like bamboo.
Oh,
I love mint.
Oh, I do love mint as well. But if it's in my garden, it will take over my whole garden in the same season.
Yeah, we had that mistake. We moved the mint from a pot to the ground, and we had to kill it because it just got to the size of like a bed.
Oh wow! Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
That's an excellent tip. So yeah, keep your mint in a pot and keep it separate, so then it grows nicely. Any other last questions or anything, Sareen?
No, I think I'm good.
Perfect. So again, please put your comments in the comments below, and we will get back to you again. So stay tuned for our next episode, which is actually planting flowers. So there are 2 different gardens. There is the vegetable and there is the flower garden. So we are going to be looking at the flower garden next. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments below, and we will get back to you throughout our series. Thank you for joining, and have a wonderful day. Bye for now.
Bye.